Hello everyone, just going to dive into XRP once again. Thank you for support. Big of the CoinsKid crew. If you're not already a subscriber, please do hit the subscription button and obviously the like button. And also, if you're not in the VIP, definitely get involved in the VIP. So many cool features and trades. We're making a lot of money in the Discord right there in the TA section. Long, shorts, whatever, spot bids, whatever. There's been a lovely little trade that's played out on ICP. We've been looking at ICP for a while. Where is ICP? Just here. Really simply, this was a simple trade for myself and the CoinsKid crew. This slam bang, you see this level of resistance here? It was a god candle back test. If we zoom out to the daily, this is something I relayed to the CoinsKid crew way back when this was dropping. I'm selling into this range here because what this is a god candle back test. See this support, and you melted through this level of support in a god candle. Look at that. So what you've done for ICP is come back up into it. So I've actually bought down here and sold it into here. So right now I'm looking at another buy zone that I've relayed to the CoinsKid crew for ICP for the next move up. So at the moment I don't necessarily see anything overly impulsive for ICP. It's a free wave move up into the god candle backtest. What I'm looking for is to break this range here. If you start to take that out, fantastic, because if you take a look, there is a chance right now that ICP is forming what's known as basically a falling wedge. And we've got this third point of contact where we come up into the resistance, make the higher low to this low, and we break bull. So we could be looking at some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup to break out. If we do start to see something like that from ICP, and we begin to take this previous pivot high out, and I've already relayed this to the CoinsKid crew, this could begin to look quite impulsive off the low. Now if you take a look as well, this is the daily time frame. Look at all the bullish divergence that's building up. So this could be a beautiful falling wedge. If we start to take this resistance out, anticipate a rejection at 15.59, and the target will be simply at the top of the wedge. So basically I bought down here in this blood, fear and depression because it was just a god candle back test. Look at that, beautiful. Got my bids filled, rode it back up into this level of resistance. I've swung into that. Right now I'm looking to re-enter ICP. I'm looking for it to coil up and break this resistance. If it breaks this resistance, target 1, target 2, and it could begin to look quite impulsive at that particular point. So 2026 could be quite impulsive and quite bullish for ICP going forward, providing we start to see it break out this downtrend, and all this bullish divergence is leading to that. So stay tuned for the trades in the Discord, and this is why I do say to you, get involved in the Discord, because obviously it's not just all about XRP. So many coins move separate to XRP and Bitcoin and so on and so forth, and we try and identify those particular opportunities going forward. So I know it's an XRP video, I do apologize. I'm always finding ways for you to make money in this space. And it's not just about XRP. I hope you understand that. We're looking at altcoins and meme coins and things like that, and we just try and ride the waves as best we can on this channel. One of the key indicators I'm looking at right now is the LD. Whenever you start to see this draw down, expect some kind of pump in crypto. Whenever you start to see it go green and pump, expect a drawdown in crypto. So pay attention to the LD on the CoinsKid index just there in the top right corner. We get a report coming every single day, and it always affects the market. If we start to see this draw down, expect a pump in crypto. If you start to see this go green, like BTC's green right now, expect a pump. Expect a dump, sorry, in crypto, because it's liquidity being withdrawn in and out of the market on a daily time frame. So anyway, this is an XRP video. I do apologize. Let's continue with XRP content. But if you are looking for trades on other coins when XRP is boring and not doing much and going sideways, definitely head into that altcoins TA section, in the crypto block section, which is where I post a lot of trade setups. So quickly before I do dive into the weekly time frame review, I just want to show this tweet. After 15 years of holding, this wallet has eventually sold $1.5 billion worth of BTC. Old hands into new hands, or do they know something we don't? So basically this guy or gal, whoever they are, they held Bitcoin from basically the Satoshi era, and it's come all the way and they've finally offloaded around about October. When we saw that big sort of mass liquidation event, they've got fearful, and I think the top of the market's in, and they've dumped basically. But we've not seen any significant sort of drop. That supply is being absorbed, and like this guy here, Count Monte Crypto, 2025 has been whales selling to institutions, hence the flat price action. That is currently my theory as well. A lot of supply is being absorbed, and from there, it's building a base and a floor for the next leg up in this bull market. I actually think that we've been in a bear market, or a consolidation or correction since late last year, early this year, in a lot of coins, a lot of charts, and I actually think we're nearing the end of the correction, not necessarily beginning it. I think a lot of people are looking at a 4-year cycle for Bitcoin into October of this year, that move up and everything like that, which is a sell point, which is understandable. I completely understand that, and this is where whales of old, typically they rinse, repeat, they sell into that and then buy lower and things like that. They swing trade or whatever. But I think this time they could be doing it wrong, because what we've done, we've triggered massive sell warnings in the charts and the data with the 5 waves up into December last year for Bitcoin, okay? And from there, we've seen pretty much every single altcoin, bar things in the top 10, come down and make them lower highs. So I think there's confluence in the structure of those charts, and obviously the tether dominance that I'm showing you as well, that I think actually we've been in a correction since last year after a 5-wave move up for Bitcoin, and we're nearer to the end of the correction, not necessarily the beginning, where people are thinking, okay, October was the top and that's it, a year-long bear market or whatever for Bitcoin. So I'll show you the charts, but my theory is right now we've been consolidating a range for XRP for a whole year. We came up impulsively, we've gone sideways to down, and that's it. We find a floor and then we come back up for more in 2026. And one of the key clues I'm looking at is obviously over altcoins. So if we can start to see ICP hold that support, create that high low, and break that trend line of a falling wedge, well, ICP could be one of the biggest clues that we've got for a massive move up in 2026 for crypto, which is when people think we're entering some kind of bear market. So let's take a look at the weekly time frame right now to see what we can see for XRP. Okay, so looking at XRP on the weekly time frame, I think what we've got to do is respect the trend line of death, basically, where we're coming down the trend line like we've got there, boom 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 boom. And it's only at this point in March of 2023 where we actually put in a bullish statement for XRP. So I think we just got to wait for that. We've got to be patient, okay? And a lot of people jumping up and down saying the bottom's in tomorrow and next week and things like that. Okay, we can all guess where time is and things like that. But like I've taught you, time in the market beats time in the market. And it really is just important to pay attention to the structure and trend lines and and indicators that create for yourself. So at the moment what we've got is we are rolling over and we have caught between the resistance and support of the BMS. So if we start to pop out of here, increase the probability, okay, we're coming deeper into this wick to retrace it. But what I'm looking for is really simple. In this structure right now, I just want to see one thing. I want to see a 5-wave move up into this neckline of resistance. I want to see a pullback wave 2. This is where increased probability, okay, you've got an impulsive move into a corrective move of a 1-2 setup, and then you're looking at a 3rd wave impulsive break. Because I do think that what we've been in for XRP is a year-long correction consolidation range, pretty much like what we've been there. And this consolidation range, we came up in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, went sideways for a whole year, had the climax where we sold off into this level of resistance just there, in support, got candle back test. This was a beautiful buy zone that I relayed to you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's been going sideways ever since, okay? So it's the same situation. So if we're looking at that, we could be looking at January, December, some kind of bottom for XRP, some kind of selling climax, filling this wick. But what we're looking for is really simple, and it's the same thing I was looking at way back here, okay? If we start to see on the lower time frames 5 waves up and we start to flag back in an overlapping zigzag correction, okay, we've got increased probability the next wave is a vertical, a 3rd wave, and that is always the power. And what I've taught you before is basically if you find yourself in a downtrend like this and you're coming down and you start to turn a corner, you're looking at a 1 into resistance, okay, then you pull back 2 and your 3rd wave breaks the resistance, so you're confirming, okay, we've got a nice little downtrend turn to an uptrend just there because we're breaking a significant level of resistance, some kind of God candle back test, okay, which is basically this resistance there. Look at this God candle, you come up into resistance, into the God candle back test, you got your high low and you break bull, and equally this neckline. So this neckline was always going to take a 3rd wave to break it, and obviously the 20-week EMA, which is what we got just there. You see that red line? That's your 20-week EMA, and XRP closed above it in a 3rd wave. 1, 2, 3. So it's at this point I was incredibly bullish on XRP because all the data points were telling us that that was a 3rd wave, and we just don't quite see it at the moment. So this is what I'm waiting for. I think we've entered some kind of correction, just like this correction here. I think we've got some kind of correction here as well. But I think this move up for XRP has actually been a corrective move, not an impulsive move. And people looking at this, okay, this is the beginning of the bear market for Bitcoin and XRP and things like that. And you're going to get your monster 90%, 80% drawdown. I think are doing it wrong, because I think from this point here we've seen a 1 into a pullback 2 into a 3, and right now you're in a 4, missing a 5th wave. So 2026 could be extremely fruitful, because if we're looking at this sort of symmetry between this peak of wave 1 and this bottom of wave 2, it took 357 days, and I think I've shown you this before, whether or not that's the peak or that's the peak, we're looking at roughly 357 days. You're looking at December, January, the bottom being in, and then we break bull. But what we're looking for is really simple, the same thing that we saw just there, a 1 into a sideways 2, breakout 3, a 1 into a sideways 2 into a breakout 3. The 3rd wave is the power, it's the signal that tells you, okay, you've got an impulsive move here. So it'd be the 3rd wave on this trend line that breaks out. So until that day comes, unfortunately, it looks as though we've got a 1 into a 2 into a breakdown 3. This is some kind of overlapping corrective zigzag wave 4 into resistance. Get your final flush, final 5th wave down. Everyone's like, oh my god, Armageddon bear market and things like that. It's going to 0, and it breaks bull into the resistance in a 1, pull back 2. So let's lay down a theory. You're looking at something like this. flushes down, fills his way. Everyone's like, oh my god, it's a bear market, it began just there. No, it didn't. It's a corrective wave. This is a consolidation range, and you get a final flush pretty much like this consolidation range. You get a final flush of 5 waves down, this ABC, final flush of 5 waves down. We're all in at this point pretty much when everyone's selling, and we break bull. We break into the resistance of the trend line, we pull back in a wave 2, we break the resistance in a third wave. It's all systems go for a brand new impulsive move, and that could actually come in 2026 against all odds and expectations. So do I think a bear market's began for XRP? I don't. I think actually we've been in some kind of bear market or correction since this point here, pretty much like what we went through just there. Overlapping zigzaggy wave, some kind of flag, overlapping zigzaggy wave, some kind of flag here for XRP. So I think that this next move, if we see it, is, you know, an opportunity, pretty much like that was and that was. So stay tuned to the channel, because that is currently my primary outlook. I think that 2026 could be a very fruitful year for XRP and you know, crypto against all odds and expectations. When people think we've entered some kind of bear market just there, I actually think we've been in a correction since this point here for, you know, the vast majority of crypto. Hope you enjoyed that update. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Back to another XRP. But really simple. What I'm looking for in time is a move 1, pullback 2, breakout 3. This move, whenever it is, whenever in time, breaking this neckline, that is the all systems go for your big impulsive move. Final 5th wave here for XRP. Okay, hope you understand the update. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Back to an update on XRP. Bye bye.